Hi, my name is Anne and welcome to my channel. Today I think we're just going to have a little conversation, frankly, about water, which sounds a little odd, but I had an experience last week. We had our water cut off and it was basically just a miscommunication, but we didn't have water for like 3 days in our apartment. And I think it's really made me reflective on a couple of the different things that I find in my experience living in Brazil. I've been in Brazil since 2020. We've had our little, issues off and on, and it's a situation that I find very interesting coming from a place within the United States where I had water constantly. I never had to worry about having filtered water that I could drink, having water shut off, anything like that. I never had that issue growing up as a kid, and I realized how fortunate I am to have that. And so today I thought we would kind of look a little bit about the fact that how many people don't have access to guaranteed water. And it's not to make anybody feel bad. It's just that I think there's certain steps and certain things that you have to go through when you don't have immediate access to water. And I just wanted to show some of the things that we had to do to be a little bit creative and to kind of just reflect on that and share that with you guys. Basically, last week we had a miscommunication with a neighbor. They were having issues. They turned something off. And unbeknownst to us, that actually shut our water off as well. We have a holding tank on our roof that is basically where the city fills up our water. We get a pipe that kind of comes through, they fill from our water company, and it just holds the water there. And basically once that tank is empty, you're kind of done. So we actually had our water shut off a couple days before, and we didn't even know because we were using the water from the tank. We use water throughout the house like a lot of people do, to wash dishes, to flush toilets, to take showers, to do the laundry, to water my plants, to give water to my cats, for cooking, for us to just drink in general. And once you really don't have water, you realize how many different situations that you actually need to use water with. And this whole list, I literally was thinking about it when we were like, oh, it's fine, we don't really need it that badly. And then I needed to do laundry. And then our dishes started to pile up. And we have a filtration system. If you want to see the way that we normally use our water filter, I have my morning routine here, I'll tag it. But basically we have filtered water that we have to get our normal water. We put it through that, and then we're able to have our filtered water for drinking. And the rest of it we kind of use for other stuff. Besides, I give the cats filtered water too, because they're my babies. So basically we have a water system in our downstairs, not our apartment, but the one below us has kind of a street access to water, which I guess in this city, I live in a smaller town, that's pretty common. And we happen to have a big water jug, the ones that people would have in their offices, where you flip it upside down and you have your little tabby tab and you get your water. And we had one of those, and so we would fill that up from that street water, and that's kind of what we had unless we wanted to refill it. So yes, we had access to water, but it was not running water, it was not filtered water, and we basically just used it for little things here and there, because it technically is public water, so it's kind of ours but kind of not. So we had that filter, and we basically had to decant it into smaller pots, which I love my little water boiling pot. And we would put it there, and then we would pour it slowly over. As my husband would wash the dishes, we had to do that. And then we would save that water and go ahead and use that for flushing toilets, because you basically just pour it down the toilet, which sounds ridiculous, but it never even occurred to me that you could just pour water into the toilet. That could be a totally dumb realization, but it's something that I never had to think about. Like I said from earlier on, I never had to worry about if the toilet was flushing and how it works, the mechanics. And that is just something that I need to figure out, because my husband's magical and he grew up needing to kind of be a bit resourceful with water sometimes. And so I learned a lot from him. He was fine. I mean, we didn't want to have non-running water, but basically he knew what to do. And so it was one of the things that was just massive for me to realize that I don't need to think about it most of the time. And it was such an interesting experience to have, where thinking through, where does your water come from? Is it clean enough? Do you need to travel to go get it? And like, it makes me so grateful for the fact that I have water in my house right now. We figured it out, and I just magically turn a knob and I have water. And it's even more so within where I grew up in the US, right? I grew up in an area where I didn't have to worry about our public water. I didn't have to worry about what I drank out of the faucet. And I realize in the United States, all over, that's not completely true. And there's a lot of areas where there are issues with water and being able to drink it. But like where I grew up, I didn't have that. And so the fact that you have water that just magically comes out of a pipe, that you never have to worry about paying a water bill. Like, you pay your water, but you've never been financially in a situation where you needed to figure out how to pay your water bill. Then it comes out of the faucet and you can drink it automatically. Maybe you want to put it in the refrigerator to chill it, but you don't have to if you don't need to. And then on top of that, like, I remember it broke like in 5 seconds, but we had like a boiling water toggle, which some people might have, where they basically, you just need to just push a thing and like boiling water comes out. And these kinds of resources, these kinds of things with water is incredible. And it blows my mind that I never had to think about it. And like showers in the US, at least growing up, like we always knew from a sustainability side was like, yeah, turn the water off when you're going to brush your teeth, or turn the water off while you're sudsing up in the shower. But these were things that frankly I didn't think about when I was younger. And I never really had to, I guess, from like being, trying to be conscientious about your water consumption is definitely something that I think a lot of us are kind of told to do it in a way because it's the right thing to do and not because it's out of necessity. And when you are in a situation where it is necessity, you have to think about where is your water coming from. And I found living here, I've become much more conscientious of that fact of like, I do turn the water off in between. All the time? No, I'm not perfect, but like I turn it off in between because watching, like having to help my husband take a shower and using like this little bucket, I basically would like fill the bucket and like pour it slowly over his head, and he would just kind of like, ooh, like try to make shift with what he had. And we still had access to water down there. Like I could have gone and gotten it, but I didn't really, like I wasn't going to haul the whole tank up. I had to kind of deal with what we had available to us. And I think like processing this out loud with you guys, it feels so weird still because there's still so much shame behind the fact that I grew up with access to these things. And I just didn't have water for 3 days. And I still didn't even technically not have water. I have a filtration system. I had water down at the bottom that I could have gone and filled the jug with. Just having a flash of that and having the understanding that people deal with this all the time. It's not a given. It is a luxury. Like water, filtered, safe, accessible water in many places is a luxury. And I have been able to see this not because the people around me like don't have access, but I do see situations where our water gets shut off, or we have flooding issues, or access to, these systems is not as available. And it's almost like we don't understand that water should be a human right. And it should be something that you would be able to open your faucet and get filtered safe water, but we don't have that. And so I'm just using this opportunity to like, one, say it out loud, but also just to remind people that, don't feel bad at the fact that you have these things. It's an incredible thing that you have, but just be conscientious of it, because I think once you have to deal with it, once you realize how important water is, how important resources in general are, right? Electricity, water, food, geez, that's a whole other conversation. But yeah, it was just kind of something that I wanted to chat with you guys about today, is just like, I don't want to feel ashamed to be like, oh, well, I can't complain, which is true. Like in some ways I couldn't, but I want to at least open up the conversation to the fact that sustainability for many people is a necessity. It's not a choice to just be, the best person in the world. Like, well, I only turn the water off. Like, I turn the water off when I shower. And it's like, well, yeah, because sometimes there are people that genuinely don't have enough. And so I don't know which side I'm landing on right now. I think living the way that I do now and being able to have access to different ways of life is something that I kind of battle with every day. And I just wanted to kind of be here and process it with you guys and show you that there are ways to be creative around using your water. And it's not just because, it's super aesthetic, but it's because it's the right thing to do. Be conscientious of what you're using, because you have the luxury of getting to run the water for your whole shower. You have the luxury of washing your dish, using a dishwasher. I hand wash everything. There are these things that people have, and just be grateful for them and at least make the effort to do what you can, because it's such a privilege of what you have. And maybe it's not. Maybe it's something you've worked your butt off for. But you would know what that feels like. And I think the people that I want to have the conversation with are the people that never had to worry about it, knowing that you have a gift, and it's something that I hope you think about the next time you use your water in whatever way you do, right? Think about, how can I save a little bit here and there? How can I water my plants with some water that I used for potatoes? Like, I rinse my potatoes and I put it in my water for my plants. Like, just finding different ways to be creative and to be aware that you have something so valuable and so special in your home, and you have access to it, and treat it with the respect that it deserves, because it's something that a lot of people don't get. So yeah, I don't know. That was kind of my process for today. I'm really interested to see how you feel about this conversation. Is it something you've ever had to deal with? Have you had your water cut off? Did you grow up with scarcity of water? Have you always had access to water? Have you ever thought about this, right? I'd love to chat with you guys about it, and to start to look at sustainability and the choices that we make as something that we should be fighting for, because we have the choice. We have the ability to choose, where so many people don't. I hope you're having a really nice day. I hope this didn't totally break your brain, but I just needed to say it out loud, I needed to have this conversation with people. If you want to see other kind of interesting conversations, I'm having a little shift in my channel, and I'm wanting to really just use this place as a platform to talk with people and to kind of express some of my opinions and thoughts on things. And if that sounds fun, incredible, go ahead and check out some of my other videos. I have sustainability videos, I have some travel videos, I have some just chatting videos, which I looked back on recently. It was insane to see my 22-year-old self talking about stuff, but they're some of my favorites to really look back on, is when I'm just processing things with you guys. So yeah, have a wonderful day, and I will see you very soon. Bye.